Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the interview series where I'm going to be interviewing a very interesting collector, fellow collector. His name is Ryan, and he's also known as Colossus Collector, or so. Colossus is it Colossus Collector or like I always mess up your name, Colossus Collector or Colossus collector Colossus. I always think of just Colossus. Whenever I think of his name, but he has an amazing collection. He's, as the name might suggest, he really does like the character Colossus. Hopefully, we're going to see some cool Colossus comics in this video. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't bring any Colossus, but we'll see. We'll see what he does. It'll be fun." Yeah,
I
see,
I don't
I
know.
said it right. I was like, "Is it
Yeah,
Colossus Collector?" Yeah, I was like,
you got it
"I'm
right.
yeah, I was like,
Well,
I
Colossus
was having one
Collector
of those.
or Colossus Collector, yeah.
Yeah,
And then a lot of people do call me just Colossus, which is cool. But
yeah,
Ryan,
yeah.
Ryan, first name.
Ryan, yeah. So we met through as I was saying before, through Big B or Big E. I'm not sure. One of the B's. And
Biggie, yeah, on the Collector Club. Yeah.
yeah. Also, I think you were on Mon Comics with me as well.
Oh, maybe,
Didn't we do
maybe.
that as well? I think we did a
Yeah.
bunch of shows together, like
Okay.
strangely.
Yeah.
Like,
See, it all blends
it all
together.
blends together. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, which show was I on? Yeah. But yeah, I think we were on a bunch of shows together. So yeah,
Definitely a number of times on Biggie's channel though. That's
yeah,
the
we've competed against each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah. You always bring some cool stuff, actually. Stuff that I
I'm
haven't seen
I
before, so it's always
I
interesting.
try, but man, like I had bad luck on that channel or on that competition. I think I've won only 2 rounds ever.
Oh, okay.
One was an X-Men round, which is good.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that is kind of your
yeah,
thing, so you
yeah,
should win that round.
yeah.
So yeah, so how did you get started into, well, first collecting comics, but then doing YouTube? I'd be kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I've told this story a few times, but it's always fun to rehash the tale.
The origin story.
Not that it's like that
Hmm.
crazy or different. Like a lot of people, I as a kid, I got into Marvel through cartoons.
Hmm.
So X-Men was the my favorite as a kid, the X-Men 90s Fox series, but also Spider-Man. But I also, as a kid, I would go to the video store and I would rent um those old 60s Marvel animation shows, like the original Spider-Man, which I'm sure most people saw reruns of and stuff, but like also like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America.
Hmm.
And so I kind of grew up watching that stuff too. And that's what like kind of sort of started my Marvel fanhood,
Hmm.
fandom. And then a little bit of video games too. Like I was really into the X-Men Konami arcade game. That's where I became a
Okay.
fan of
And you could play the
Colossus.
different characters and you just like
Yeah,
tactics.
and you could play as a team,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of like Turtles in Time esque game, and then each mutant had like a really awesome superpower that you could use that would like kill everybody. And
Hmm.
Colossus had the best one, and I just always liked playing as him. I thought he was a cool character. And then
So
as I've gotten older, I've appreciated him for other reasons. But
in the game, what's his superpower? You just turn to
in
stone
the
or
in,
steel
so
or
in the game it's not really one that he ever had in the comics. He would do like he would just like yell and then he'd emit this
like
huge like
sonic wave or something?
energy bubble or circle that would just it covered the most amount of space on the
So it's
screen in the
hard to
game.
avoid
Yeah, so like
yeah,
he killed the max amount of
bad guys.
sentinels or bad guys
Hmm.
I found than any other character, and that was one of the other reasons why I always liked him.
That's
So
cool. That's cool.
yeah,
I
and then
remember playing that back in the day, but I remember playing Wolverine and
yeah,
he's
no,
always
I mean
bouncing around and
Wolverine
stuff.
was cool. Wolverine would like
Yeah. Bounce
across
around
the
and stuff.
screen
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, um, yeah, there were 6 characters in that game to play.
Hmm.
Um, all within one, but yeah, so that was the start of being like a lifelong Marvel fan. Then
Hmm.
I got into comics a little later, like later in the 90s when I was getting closer to high school, but not quite.
Hmm.
But it was like a short-lived collecting phase. I collected a lot of stuff as a kid. I also collected the 94 series of Marvel
Oh,
Masterpiece
the the
cards.
the the, the cards.
Yeah, so like little things that just all added up to being a big Marvel fan, but I never
Hmm.
was like deeply, deeply into the comics.
Okay.
Um, and then like so many people's story on YouTube and online, I fell out of it once I got into high school.
Yeah, yeah.
Chasing other things, other
Hmm.
interests, college, and then um the movies started coming out and it just kind of
Brought you
reignited
back in.
my fan and my interest in Marvel. I became a huge fan of the movies.
Hmm.
Um Starting with like the Spider-Man and X-Men movies and then into the MCU,
Yeah.
all the MCU all the way up till now. Um
What was your favorite movie? Just out of curiosity.
Ever? Ooh.
Of the Marvel EU
Of
ones,
the
yeah.
MCU, my favorite I it's I like the Infinity War
Okay. The
Endgame.
little
That's
the two
pretty.
parts, like.
Yeah, I like Infinity War a little bit more than Endgame, but Endgame's
Hmm.
got the best moment at the end, so uh,
Hmm.
they're kind of almost like a package deal. Uh,
Hmm.
Outside of those, Thor Ragnarok was my
Yeah,
favorite.
I mean something about that. That was a fun movie.
It
It's just
was
a.
so fun, and then
Mhm.
also a personal reason. So my dad's a Led Zeppelin fan. I grew up listening to Led
Okay,
Zeppelin,
so the
and my
music and.
absolute favorite Led Zeppelin song is the Immigrant Song, which was like the theme song of that movie. So, and
Hmm.
they played it twice in that movie. It was big,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah,
just like super epic for me. So,
yeah.
yeah, that's a personal reason why it resonates and as a favorite of mine.
Hmm.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
then got into comics just under 2 years ago,
Hmm.
early 2022. I kind of missed like the really big start of the comic boom, but I
Yeah.
definitely caught like
The
the
end of it.
end of it. And
So you
bought.
bought it the worst time, is what you're saying.
Well, I'll get into that. I did, but I would say that I didn't buy my biggest books or most of my biggest books I
Mhm.
bought this year, which
Oh,
was
okay. So then you're good.
way
You
better
bought it
time.
the you bought it the worst the worst time for the market, but best time to buy.
Yeah. So I started in an expensive time, but then most of the big books that I've picked up this year were in better times. So for
So
buying.
as a collector, do you have like are you a completionist? Like where you going after like every single Colossus cover or something like that? Or
I'm a little bit of I'm well, I'm a Marvel guy.
Mhm. Yeah, I figured that. I
That's what I
didn't
collect.
mention DC at all. Like that company doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming like as I'm getting more into the hobby, I'm definitely appreciating certain DC like cover art and stuff, but like
Hmm.
I just don't have the knowledge for DC.
Yeah.
And I there's a few books that I might want to add to my collection, which I probably wouldn't have said when I started,
Okay.
but it might be like a long-term thing that maybe I'll dabble in as
Hmm.
I get along in collecting, but I'm just so into Marvel that it's
Yeah.
what I
I
love.
mean, it's big enough in itself. So.
Yeah, exactly. But then in terms of just like specific themes that I collect or things that I collect, like I'm a little bit all over the place. Like I try to be a key collector
Hmm.
the most. And then I collect X-Men, and
Hmm.
I actually finished my Claremont run
Oh,
this
that's
year.
good.
Yeah, so
That's
I got my goal is my
accomplishment.
ultimate goal is 1 to 300
Oh,
in
wow.
X-Men, and I have 94 to 300 done, and I'm about like 18 to 20 away from
The other way.
193.
Wow.
Um and yeah, so
That's actually pretty. That's pretty
yeah,
pretty impressive, actually.
I'm also very like when I get into something, I go hard at it, and
Hmm.
I'm very kind of I don't want to say obsessive. I'm just like very passionate about the thing I'm doing, and I just like I just got to get stuff, and I'm it's just
Yeah,
kind
I'm the same.
of
I'm the same way. If you've
um
watched any of my unboxings, I'm the same way.
yeah,
I
yeah.
buy
I
a lot
I
of
really
crap.
appreciate actually how much you buy because like I'm like that too.
Mhm.
Although I'm starting to reevaluate what I want to do in this coming year,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
slow it down a bit.
yeah, yeah. You gotta slow it. Yeah,
I
it's
had a
one of
real
those things.
I had a really fun year.
Yeah, yeah.
Not so
I
much for
get.
my wallet, but
Yeah, yeah.
for my
Fun.
collection.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been great. But yeah, so and then I do have some other side quests and runs I'm filling out. Like I'm trying to do like an early warlock run. I'm
Okay.
doing a Submariner Silver Age to Bronze Age that starting with like Submariner
Those
one.
ones are awesome. I
Yeah,
really
I
like the
love those
Submariner.
covers.
Yeah,
Those covers
yeah.
are
They're really great.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So those are like the two runs outside of X-Men I'm collecting. And then uh I have like this really small side collection. I like cigars, so I collect Marvel characters on the cover that smoke cigars, kind of
Oh,
more
okay.
prominently, but
So
like so
you can
Wolverine.
maybe answer a question that somebody else asked, and maybe it was you that asked it. I don't know who asked this, but when did they stop? Like, I know that they don't show cigar smoking anymore. Like, Wolverine is
Yeah,
the character you most associate with cigar smoking.
I actually know. I don't know the year off the top of my head, but
Hmm.
I roughly kind of know
Hmm.
that it it happened somewhere along the line along the time when Grant Morrison was doing the new X-Men series,
Okay.
because there is an issue of new X-Men where the cover was supposed to be this really cool cover of
Where it's like
Wolverine
smoke. Yeah, yeah.
smoking a cigar, and it never saw the
Never
light of
surfaced.
day because
Yeah.
the policy Marvel made the policy of no more smoking on covers or really in any of their books. So the cover art exists, but it never went into production. They put some other terrible cover on.
Yeah, I think there was a big like societal thing where they really wanted to
Yeah,
avoid, oh, you're trying to encourage kids to smoke and all this kind of thing, so that
yeah.
became a big thing.
So it's kind of it's too bad that that's the case. Because
Hmm.
a lot of characters like Wolverine,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
part of who they were, right? Was
yeah.
like
It was part of their whole
Nick
persona.
Fury, the Thing, Wolverine,
But
Howard
even
Duck.
in the X-Men movie, when you first see Wolverine, he's smoking.
Well, that they he still does. Like
Yeah,
up until there's a scene, I forget which X-Men movie it is. It's one in the newer series of X-Men with the younger class.
yeah. The first class. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's either the it's
Days of
probably
Future Past.
either the first class or no, it's definitely first class because Magneto and Xavier are
Oh,
actually
they're recruiting
they're
at the end.
recruiting and they go to see Logan and
I
he's at
love
a
that
bar
scene.
with a big cigar
Yeah, yeah, you're
and
right.
he
I
tells them
remember
to
that scene.
F off.
I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah, great scene.
Mm,
So yeah, he you definitely see it still in movies,
hmm.
but yeah, comics it didn't. So anyways, I have like a little side collection that I one day I want to slab a good portion of it and make
Hmm.
kind of just like a
A
little
little wall or
wall
something. Yeah.
with my cigar covers where I keep like my humidor and like it'll be like
Hmm.
a cool little cigar spot. But one day,
That'd be funny.
it's not I'm not in a rush for it, but
Cool.
yeah, and then I'm kind of addicted though to like Silver Age and like cool Bronze Age stuff. So I do also just pick up random covers that I like and cool
Hmm.
books and if the price
Cool.
is right. But that's where I'm like I need to maybe get a little bit more disciplined about
Yeah.
what I'm buying all the time. Like I just get a little too much volume.
Yeah. No, that, I mean, it's so easy. I mean, there's so many books to buy. How about you show some of the books and then
Sure.
we can talk about them.
Pull them a little closer here.
I'm gonna make you
So
big, and then you can be Colossus here.
I've showed this book to you before. Well, a bunch of these books you will have seen, the internet will have seen, YouTube will have seen, but you asked for 20 of my favorite books, and
Mhm.
so I just these aren't
Yeah, grab your
necessarily
favorites.
all my 20 favorite because I do have some at CGC right now, and it was kind of a
Okay.
quick grab. But I showed you this one time because this is the
I
only
know.
find
I
the
was
right
actually
angle.
shocked by that one. That's a
Uh,
cool one.
this is Babe Ruth Sports Comics number 7, and I'm from Toronto. I'm a Leafs fan, Toronto Maple Leafs fan, hockey, and
Nobody's perfect.
nobody's perfect. No,
That's
I'm long suffering. But when I got into collecting last year, I just kind of Googled the Leafs and comics, and this
Mhm.
one came up, and I started hunting for it on eBay. And there were like 3 copies on eBay of this. I bought the best looking one, and then I went and got it graded. It came back a 5.0, which I
That's solid grade.
I
That's a
don't mind for
yeah.
a 50s book. It's
So
1950, so it's like
was
just
that the
a 50s.
last time that they actually won the Stanley Cup? Like when was like
No. They won the last time they won the Stanley Cup was 1967. So it's been a very, very
oh,
long
okay.
time,
Yeah.
but
I knew it was before I was born. That's all I knew.
not quite this long.
Okay.
This is actually right in the middle of like them
When they're
being
at their peak?
an absolute dynasty, yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah,
so
it's
that's a
sad that
cool
we
one.
never experienced that. I've
Oh,
been to a Maple Leafs game.
my
It's
dream.
fun. Fun
Oh
game
yeah.
for whenever that.
Honestly, any hockey game is just a ton of fun, but
Yeah.
so I definitely got a lot of X-Men here. Um, this
Oh, that's a good
is
one.
yep, X-Men number 12, first Juggernaut. Um, I was actually on Only Slabs like last week. Showed a bunch of these books, but well, I guess when this airs, it'll have been at least a month. But
Hmm.
I got this from Heritage Auction. It was listed as a 2.5.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I got it pressed and cleaned by our mutual friend Bleecker Street Comics,
Wow,
and
you did a good job then.
and he did a killer job. He did a killer job on this one.
Because a 2.5, like usually is a little rough looking. This one looks like the colors on it are
Yeah,
amazing.
it presents like super well, and it's got
I'm
obviously
actually
like
surprised it's only a
fine
four
wear and
five.
stuff, but yeah,
It
it's
actually looks better than a 4.5.
yeah, it's
It's
I
actually
think
quite
it's
solid looking.
yeah, I don't know. It's I'm not a great grader, but it
No, it looks really nice.
definitely looks nice. Um and man, like the value between a 2.5 and a 4.5 in
I
this
know
book
you
is
doubled the value basically.
significant. So I definitely got a good deal on it in the end. Uh this one is X-Men 14
Oh, nice.
for Sentinels. Kind of a lower grade, but it presents I think way better than a 2.5. Uh
Yeah, I like that kind of situation where you get the price of the low grade, but the look of a high grade. You
yeah.
know,
And I
it's kind of nice.
I think this was like from the first submission I ever did.
Hmm. And you
So
might get better if you pressed it or something, or
no, this got pressed. So
oh,
it
okay.
this whole submission, this first submission was Bleecker. So he did a good job. This one has like a little tear right here, so I'm
Uh,
thinking maybe that's what did it, or got it to down to a 2.5. Because I would say this is
yeah,
looks
it's
better than
really
that.
yeah, it
But
looks really nice. Again, the colors look really
still
they really pop. Yeah.
awesome copy of First Sentinels, and yeah, just I like the Sentinels a lot. So and
Well, yeah, if you watch the X-Men show, they were
yeah,
kind of the main they
I
were the
I
main bad guys.
I
Yeah.
love the voice work, like the robotic voice work of the
Hmm.
Sentinels in that show. I hope when they bring them to the MCU that they have like a similar tone because I just think that's awesome. And this is the next one. This is X-Men 15, much
Hmm.
better grade, and this is the first master mold, um,
Okay.
and second Sentinel appearance. I actually have the next one. There's like a 3-part Sentinel series. I also have that one, but I didn't bring it for this one. But
That's nice. So that's a,
love
I like
love
it's very solid grade. So
yeah, good grade on it. Then I got X-Men 28,
That's another great one.
first Banshee, and just such a cool color cover. Um,
Do you gravitate to the red covers? I just noticed a bit of a theme. That's all.
no, not to be honest, I really don't. I mean, there's a lot of great red covers in this
In the
early
early
X-Men
ones, yeah.
run, and they some of them just happen to be some of the
Hmm.
bigger keys. So, but yeah, really love having this one. But yeah, those last, other than the one I just showed before, those are all nice red covers.
Mm, it's nice.
Uh, this is probably, I don't know. It's hard to nail it down, but this is definitely in my like Mount Rushmore of covers.
Oh yeah, that's one of my
X-Men,
favorite X-Men covers.
yeah, X-Men 50, uh, second Polaris,
Hmm.
um, but first time with the classic block 3D X-Men logo
Yeah,
trade dress,
yeah,
and just an overall like beautiful classic Steranko
yeah. I think
cover.
that was a good change for the title, like the trade dress.
Yeah, I mean, I have a soft spot for the original, just
Hmm.
because it's the original and it's a cool
Yeah, it's
vintage
classic. Yeah.
logo, classic, exactly. But this is definitely the logo I grew up on, and
Hmm.
I think
Yeah, it's what I always
obviously the
associate with
most
X-Men.
synonymous with the X-Men, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of I hope they go back to it. I know they've moved away from it since they got into this Krakoa age in the modern
Yeah, I actually don't
comics.
really like the modern style of X-Men, tell you the truth.
I don't really read modern much. I'm a vintage guy through and
Hmm.
through, but I do have a desire to kind of read it because I want to know, because I'm such
What's
an
going
X-Men
on?
guy.
Yeah.
And I did start the Krakoa era. I read Powers of X,
Hmm.
House and Powers of
House
X,
of X. Yeah, yeah.
and then the earlier parts after that of like all the mutant titles. But I stopped reading it, and I have to get back into it at some point. But I'm also still just trying to read Claremont X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough right there to read. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of issues.
I'm well through it, a lot of it, but still have more to go. All right, let's get out of X-Men for a little bit. This book is pretty cool. This is Alpha Flight number 1,
Okay,
um, but it is a Canadian price variant,
perfect. That's the way it
which
should be.
is the perfect Canadian price variant. If you're gonna have a Canadian price variant, an Alpha Flight 1 is pretty much
Makes sense.
the
Yeah,
perfect book for it. So
yeah.
definitely wanted to scoop this up, and I bought it in a 9.6, so I didn't grade this one, but
They they sort of had Alpha Flight in one of the ones with Wolverine, didn't they? Like a little
oh
bit.
yeah, we can get to some more Alpha Flight. I have some more books coming up here.
Mhm.
Um, but before we do that, I've got Marvel Spotlight number 28.
Oh, oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a cool book. This is the first solo Moon Knight story.
And
Um,
first Bushmaster as well.
is it? I didn't even.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't say. It should say that,
Should
but
say that.
um, yeah. So like, just cool book, and
Oh, is it that one or no? No, it's Moon Knight *1. That's the first
oh
Bushmaster.
yes, that's
Yeah,
right. No,
that's
that
right.
is
I
that.
got
Yeah,
mixed up.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
one. The blue. It's fully blue, and it's
yeah,
he's a little bit bigger, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
he has like 3 identities on the bottom. Yeah,
yeah,
I have that too, but not
yeah,
graded.
yeah.
So yeah, cool Bronze Age key. And then we get back into X-Men, and I got X-Men 101,
Nice.
first Phoenix,
Hmm.
Jean Grey as Phoenix, and also just classic Dave Cockrum cover art, Cyclops drinking the ocean.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing there. I always thought that was funny, actually.
Yeah,
But
but
it's a good cover.
another beautiful classic X-Men cover. Yeah, so coming back to Alpha Flight, this is the first appearance of Weapon
Vindicator.
Alpha, Vindicator, aka Guardian, uh,
Hmm.
the leader of Alpha Flight and this is X-Men 109.
Beautiful
And
book.
this is basically the first character appearance of anyone in Alpha Flight, and this storyline
Leads to Alpha Flight. Yeah.
leads to Alpha Flight.
Yeah. So do you like the getting those Canadian like Canadian style characters in comics, like the things that can
Yeah, I
relate
think
to?
as a Canadian, it's cool to have them,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just feels, and they're so connected to X-Men too. So
yeah, yeah. Always like the fact that Wolverine's Canadian. That's
yeah,
good.
love that, love that.
Yeah.
He's my second favorite character. So
Hmm.
and then this is the first appearance of Alpha Flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chaos in Canada.
And going back to the whole buying when the market was high, this
Hmm.
book I bought at that time,
Oh
and
no.
it has significantly dropped.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a sad thing,
this was for that first year was like my most valuable book, and it's yeah,
Thanks.
it's gone way 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 down.
Yeah, it's sad. It's such a
And
cool. It's a cool book.
I know, but it is what it is.
Hmm.
I don't. It doesn't really matter for me, even the fact that I bought a lot of books during that time because I'm collecting. I'm not like reselling, flipping
Yeah, yeah.
like that. So
It'll go
I think
back up
the
someday.
value will come back eventually, and yeah, I just happy to have them, right? So
And the good thing about it was there was no hype around that book in particular. You know what I mean?
no,
There was no movie spec or anything like
there was like a
where.
little bit of overall X-Men spec
Yeah,
at the
yeah, that's
time.
true.
So X-Men was up
Was up,
overall,
but it
but
wasn't
not
up like the 10 times
specifically.
thing where some of
Yeah,
the books
yeah.
were crazy overpriced.
It's not like Dazzler this year for yeah,
Dazzler's going
right?
crazy.
Which I also got that book before all that stuff popped
Me
off.
too, me too. Yeah.
Uh Going into some Silver Age.
Oh, nice.
This is a
Submariner.
cool issue of X-Men #6, and this is
Hmm.
where they reveal that Submariner is in fact the
A
first
mutant.
mutant
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Marvel.
That's really cool.
Cool, cool cover.
He always looks so hairy in that one though. It looks like his that's arm hair or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
always
guess
thought,
it's it's the hash lines or what
yeah,
the
I always
Kirby
thought he was
did
a
in
bit
there.
furry looking. I don't know why. It's just
Maybe
it's just a thing.
on the forearms and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the issue just before it is X-Men 5, and this
Oh,
is
nice.
the second appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants,
Hmm.
Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Toad. Um,
Nice.
just a cool cover.
Yeah.
I love Silver Age covers,
Yeah. No, that's cool.
and X-Men ones no different. This is a recent buy I got. It's not in the best shape, but it's Doctor Strange 169.
Oh, another book I really like. I wish that was his first appearance.
Yeah,
You know what I
oh
mean? In terms of
yeah.
covers, like
His first appearance, he's not even on the cover. It's
I
pasted
know it's
on
the lamest cover ever.
Human Torch.
It's like the
It's
dumbest
not.
cover. But
It's
this is an awesome cover.
this is a really cool cover, and this is basically his big premiere issue.
Hmm.
It kind of came out at the same time, but they didn't put the big premiere issue on
On
it.
it. Yes.
But it's
Yeah.
when he finally had his own
Title. Yeah.
titled book. So
Yeah. No,
pretty
it's a really
cool.
great one.
And then this one is another oldie. This is Tales of Suspense 48. And this is the first appearance of Iron Man
Oh,
in the red and gold.
that's right. Yeah.
So
That's
this is
one
a
I don't have. I'd love to own that book. That's a really
yeah,
good one.
it's a cool book. I got it on a claim sale back in the first year of collecting, and just thought it was a really cool one to get. It's like one of the first truly old books. Like when I say old, I mean truly old Marvel books that I got in my collection. It's not in great shape, but I
But
just think
that's a major key. I mean, that's like
I
for
think
Iron
yeah,
Man,
I
that's his
mean,
most iconic
I am a
suit.
big fan of Iron Man, and yeah, the first red and gold. That's his iconic,
Yeah, it's
right?
sort of like Daredevil 7, where
Yeah,
he,
which I also
Daredevil gets his he gets
with the
his
red
favorite.
suit. I also
Yeah, the
love
red
that
suit.
cover with Submariner, kind of
Yeah,
tossing through the water. It's a good one too.
yeah, yeah.
It's another recent book I got. I absolutely love this cover.
Oh
Iron
wow.
Fist 14, first appearance of Sabretooth,
Hmm. That
Wolverine's.
book has gone crazy, by the way. Did you hear about it?
Yeah, because of all the Deadpool rumors.
Did
I
you
got
see
it
why?
just before all that came out, actually. So,
Oh
um,
wow.
and I've seen the leaks and stuff.
Did you see the leaks with the severed head?
Yeah, yeah, which is the homage to that homage
The
cover.
Yeah,
Um,
the crime suspense stories 22.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's funny, an homage and a homage.
Yeah, yeah. That's so cool.
Um, but yeah, it'll be cool to see.
I'm really looking forward to Deadpool 3.
Oh
You know,
man, I'm
I think he's going to kill all of the MCU kind of, that's what it's
yeah.
like.
There's different takes and thoughts on what might happen there. It could be like a Deadpool kills the Marvel universe
Hmm.
kind of storyline, or it could be Deadpool kills the Fox universe.
That's the one that I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be interesting. But there's also like, where does Wolverine come into play on that storyline?
Yeah, yeah.
There's like also narrative that they're gonna have to push in the MCU. So
Yeah.
it might just, like a lot of things Marvel does, it might just take little bits of different
Yeah.
stories and put it together into
Mix
a
it together and
cohesive thing. This one is a great book. This is Fantastic 450,
oh, nice.
third
That's
appearance of Silver Surfer,
Johnny goes
and
to university.
Johnny goes to college, which is the most important part. And yeah, the third installment in the Galactus Surfer trilogy
I'm
storyline there.
I'm one of the people that really loves that cover. Actually, I actually
I
think it's a cool
love
cover.
this cover. I think this,
I actually
I,
like it
like
better than
like
the.
Silver Surfer looks so good there.
Yeah,
I mean, people don't like it generally, I think, because the
the
brown,
brown. Yeah,
and maybe because the box in the corner, but
it's a little
like
weird.
Silver Surfer looks just so cool on this.
He looks like he's like swooping in.
Yeah, it's
Like
dynamic.
surfing in. He's like doing the total surfer thing in. It's
Yeah,
like great.
yeah, it's so well done. I mean, there's other great surfer covers. There's the one on the red cosmic
Yeah,
background,
yeah. That's the one I was thinking.
W2
That
or something.
it's
That's a
almost like
beautiful cover. And then you got Silver Surfer 1, which is beautiful.
yeah. That's another great one.
But that one's just I think the most dynamic pose. Like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
not the most interesting background,
Hmm.
but definitely I think like between Silver Surfer 4 and that one, I think are the coolest looking surfer like poses on a cover.
Hmm.
Um, so this one is Tomb of Dracula number 10,
Okay.
First Blade.
Hmm.
Uh,
Did you pick it up during the heights or during the lows?
Lolos. I just
Oh,
got
you're
this.
lucky then.
This is like in the last couple
Couple
months.
months. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a big book to pick up and a good
I bought
timing.
a lot of big books in the last couple months. So like that FF 50, this one, that Iron Fist 14, those are all in the last
I
couple.
think they're right now undervalued, which is,
I think a lot of books are undervalued right now.
yeah,
Totally. It's definitely the best time to buy. It's kind of I kind of actually wish I had waited on some of them and bought them more even now, because
yeah.
December, January is kind of like the best
Best time to
historically
buy. Yeah.
to buy, and I'm not
Everyone's
buying
like
this one.
just like desperate for money because
Yeah, it's Christmas. There's other
yeah.
purchases I gotta make and stuff. All right, coming down to the wire here. Last couple books. This is Submariner number 1,
Oh, wow,
uh,
nice.
7.5. As I said, I'm collecting this run.
Are you
Um,
also collecting the big premiere issues or
I am, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
love that.
So
I love
I
those.
have I have this one. I have Cap one,
Okay.
but it's in a 4-5.
Hmm.
So I'll I'll tell you a story, inside story. You had recently had Rohan from
Yes.
Absolute Game of Nerds. So me and Rohan chat a lot, and we were talking about this book, and I've got this in the 7-5. I also have that Iron Man Submariner
Oh, the
co-pilot book
crossover
that
kind of
comes
like,
right
yeah,
out before
yeah,
this. It's
yeah,
also
right
kind of
before.
technically a big premiere issue or part of that
Yep.
series.
Yep.
Um, and I got that in a 7-0, and I made this sort of claim that, oh, I'd love to get all of them in a 7-5 to all match this one. So now
Hmm.
now the running joke is like, oh, you wouldn't want that. It's under a 7-5 only because I just said this stupid thought that I was like, oh yeah, I'll just get them all in 7-5. I would still love to, but
Yeah,
there's
getting a
things like
Silver Surfer one and a 7.5
that's
is
the
a
thing. The
it's an
Iron Man one
expensive
and the
book.
Silver Surfer one might be pricey to get in the 7-5.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I have this one, I have Cap one, and then I have Captain Marvel #1 as well.
Hmm. Okay, that's cool.
And then yeah, the Iron Man Submariner crossover issue. And then the rest I still need to get. So this is my most favorite book. I'm
Okay,
sure you can probably guess what it is. Um,
I'm gonna guess. Can I guess at this, or should I
yeah,
guess?
sure.
I'm gonna guess GSX. You know the
Correct. Yeah.
wow.
It's my holy grail.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
if your your channel
awesome.
name, if you don't have that book, sorry, you'd have to be a loser not to have that book
Well,
with your channel
I
name.
was until I got it this a little earlier this year in the summer.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I got this for a great deal. You know, Nefarious Comics.
Nefarious Comics, no.
He's on IG. He's actually based out of Ottawa. That's why
Oh wow. Oh,
I
that's cool. I
mentioned
should
him.
meet him. That
Um, but yeah, he sells a bit on IG, and he he's done some stuff with Nerdy Girl in the past. That's
oh,
actually
okay.
how I came across him. Um, but yeah, he had this book up, and I at first I didn't like he had the pictures, the picture he posted, it was kind of a little darker, and I didn't like the
Hmm.
look of the book, but I just kind of on chance just said, could you maybe send me a
A
few
better
more
picture. Yeah.
pictures in better light? And he did, and it ended up being uh looked a lot better. So and
It's
then
yeah, it looks
I
solid.
worked
It
on a
looks the
price.
color looks good.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely pretty good quality. It's got a little bit of just kind of like a few little fox stains, but
Oh, okay.
not not much. And yeah, overall it's pretty good, and the white's not too bad. So yeah, I worked out a good deal with them. And the fact that he's Canadian was a big deal too, because then I don't
Yeah,
have
no,
to
that's
worry
so
about.
much. You don't have to ship it across the border.
Exactly. So like in a perfect world, I'd love to, like, the biggest books that I buy, I'd love to buy in Canada just to avoid that. But
Yeah.
you know, it all depends. But this is my first like real grail kind of purchase,
And you bought it at the right time. That book had
and I
gone
did.
insane. Like
Yeah.
that was the biggest, I think that Marvel Spotlight 5, Amazing Fantasy 15. Those books had all gone so far out of everybody's reach.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I think GSX didn't it have like a $200,000 sale or something insane? Like it was just like some
It,
crazy number
it
for
was
like a hybrid.
astronomical
Yeah, it's like
when I got in 2022, like it was bonkers, and it's dropped a lot, which
I
made it
found that one of the
possible.
harder books to find, by the way. That's a
Sorry?
hard book to the Giant Size X-Men. It's a hard
Really?
book to find. It took me a year before I found a copy.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think it's such a great book. I mean
I
that
guess I just lucked out. You know what? I don't see them that often. Like I
mhm,
wouldn't say they're rare, but like
yeah. They're
in
not
terms
as
of, like, some of those
like there's
bigger
other
Marvel
books you can
books,
find. Yeah.
like, I see
Like I
Marvel.
actually say it's easier to find Amazing Fantasy 15 if you have the money. If you have the
Really?
money, it's easier to find that than to find a giant size X-Men. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just the weirdest thing. I had such difficulty finding one. I and it's a great book. It just has so many first appearances in it. It's such a
Yeah,
great
it's
book.
one of those beautiful first appearance books.
And if you like Colossus, it's he's
Well, yeah,
right there,
it's
front and
the
center. So
obvious.
it's
So, like, the next big grail, I guess, on my list is X-Men 1. I'm not saying that's the
Mhm.
next one I'll get, but,
So how many of those sub 10 ones are you missing?
sub 10, of X-Men, I've
Yeah.
got, uh you know what? I have my list right here, I could tell you right now.
Your list.
I made a whole, when I decided to do this run, in notes on my phone,
Hmm.
I went and found an image of every cover, and
Okay.
I did a whole checklist in notes of all the X-Men books. Also, just so, like, because I don't always know issue
Yeah.
numbers very
Well, you
well.
know the cover a lot of the
Yeah,
time,
so
right?
I'm visual. I'm way better
Yeah,
visual
I'm good at
to
that too.
remember, right? Still, I have bought books that I had already before, but
I've done that too, which is so
yeah.
annoying.
So I need 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Those are the priciest ones.
Hmm.
I have 5 and I have 6. I need 7, 8, and 9, and then I do have 10. Although my number 10, which is the first Kazar,
Yeah.
is kind of rough. It's a little bit water stained and stuff. I'd love to
Hmm.
upgrade that, but I do have it.
Supposedly there's ways of removing water stain. Like,
I'm sure there is. I
I heard
probably
you
could
like what you
send it
do is you
off to,
soak it actually.
Comic Spa.
Hmm.
Mike from Lunch Money Comics always talks about him.
Talks
He
about
does like
him.
a an aqueous bath,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. You put it
he
in
does it
water to
without
remove the water stains.
without any kind of chemicals and stuff.
Yeah.
And that could at least probably, like, get rid of water stains and ripples, and, like, after, like, a good press and stuff, he
Hmm.
probably could make it a lot better. I'm I don't know. I was actually thinking of potentially getting the first 10 all slabbed
Yeah, that'd be
eventually.
nice. That'd be beautiful, like display, like
Yeah,
having the first 10.
yeah.
But so are you actively hunting for a number one or
No, not right now.
like I've
That's
seen number twos actually being very affordable, by the way. I've seen
yeah,
like
I think even a number 1,
that's
you can get there. It just depends on what, like, grade you're willing to take.
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
I'm not, like, a grade snob per se. Obviously, I like a good
yeah,
higher
everyone
grade,
wants
but
the high
who
grade, but you don't
doesn't? But on a book like X-Men 1, like, I'd take a 1.0, a 2.0, no problem.
Mhm.
Even potentially a purple or green label, but the big thing for me is it's got to present well. That's what I
Yeah.
want my books to do is present well. So I'll
No, it
get
makes
there.
sense.
I,
Yeah.
I've been toiling with the thought of maybe making it the only target of next year,
Mhm.
but I'm on the fence. I'm still evaluating my goals for 2024.
Yeah. So for me, what I always do is whenever I want to go after a really big grail like that, like a X-Men one's a major grail, I
Hmm.
always try to find somebody out there that's willing to take installments. that's
Oh
how I
yeah.
that's how I get them. That's
In some ways, I kind of would prefer to just save for it and then, like,
Mhm.
make a little side account or whatever,
Mhm.
and then, like, when I get to the amount that I feel like would be a good amount for it, then I'll
Mhm.
start hunting for it. Um,
Are you the type of person that would trade other books to get a big book?
I would, I would,
Okay.
but it would depend on what the books are. The
Mhm.
thing is, like, I want every book. I want
Yeah,
all
of
the
course. That's the
pieces,
way I
right?
am too. Yeah.
So, like, giving away books, I would do, but it just means I'm gonna now have to go find them
Find
again.
those other ones back again. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't and it's kind of a weird thing, like, do you wanna trade now when the market's down?
Yeah.
when the
No, you're not
value's
gonna.
not there, but then when you trade it when the value's up, then you gotta wait for the value to go down again if it ever does,
Mhm.
you know?
What I was doing, like I went to a couple conventions and I went to the Fan Expo and stuff like that.
Yep,
And what
yep.
I was doing was I was bringing in Golden Age and then trading it for the cheaper stuff that's undervalued. So right now, Golden Age is kind of not overvalued, but it's kind of hot. And I
Mhm.
was using that to try to pick up like like cheaper Silver Age stuff, like stuff
Good
that
idea.
I think it was
I
undervalued
mean,
for Silver Age.
you've
Yeah,
got plenty of golden age stuff too.
yeah, yeah. So that's yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting time actually right now. I hope like the true collectors stay in the hobby. The like
Mhm.
I don't want another '90s experience where everybody leaves the hobby. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's what happened back then.
I feel I gotta wonder though, like, at that time, was it, like was it the same in terms of collectors that, like, collected old stuff, vintage, like, truly good stuff, that left the hobby, or was it just people that bought comics all the time?
So it
Right?
was a little bit of both. Like it was sort of weird. You know, I remember back in the '90s. I'm older. I think I'm older, much older than you, right?
I
Like how old are you?
I'm 39.
39. So yeah, I'm much older. So in the '90s, uh, there was a comic shop pretty like I was in a smaller town, like maybe 300,000 people,
Mhm.
and there was like five or six shops, big shops. Like so there was
Yeah.
like that many shops. Now there's maybe one in that town. You know what I mean? It's just like
Oh, no, I
it
totally
was
get
like
that.
they got
I know it
slaughtered.
was booming. I know it was
Maybe it
booming
was more
back
than that. Maybe
then.
there was about 10.
Cards,
Actually, I
same
can think.
thing. It was kind of the same thing because I collected sports cards. That was probably the thing I collected more as a kid, and, sports cards did the same thing. They tanked
Yeah, and
right
so
at
what
the
ended up
same time.
happening is like there was almost this feeling like I remember and I wish I had known more about comics at that time. You know what I mean? I wish I knew now like what I knew now back then.
Yeah.
I remember going into this one shop and they had Tales of Suspense and I probably could have picked it up for like $100. Like Tales of Suspense 39, the first
Yeah.
yeah, I
Iron
could have
Man.
picked it up for a higher, like $100 or something. It was up on the wall. I was like, oh, it's issue 39. It's not. That's not.
It's
I'm
crazy.
want number one. It's like,
Crazy.
you know,
Yeah.
stupid things like that.
Oh, I
So,
know.
but they were selling things like literally like if it was $1 book, they would sell it for 10 cents. Like it was like fractional
Mhm.
sales. So I mean I picked up for example Amazing Spider-Man 50 for like I think it was like $5 or $10. You know what I mean? Like that was the kind of
Wow.
level. Like so, I
Wow.
think because the market had crashed so much, a lot of collectors kind of lost faith in it as well,
Mhm.
and it really didn't recover until the MCU started booming again. Um, so I think I don't want to see that happen again, where like
Yeah.
where people lose faith in the hobby. But
I think so things are so cyclical
mhm,
generally, I the thing is that comic boom in the late '80s, '90s
mhm.
was longer, like the
Yeah, it lasted from
like
from like 89 till like 96,
yeah,
95. Yeah.
or something like that, and, like, people really spent a lot of time collecting, like, a lot of the new stuff
Hmm.
and thought it was gonna like, that was the time
It's gonna
collector
be
issues,
retirement. I can
all this
retire
stuff.
on
Yeah,
these
like, one day
Turok
these are
number
gonna be
ones.
so valuable, but the problem
Yeah.
was the production, right? There was
Hmm.
100,000 billion copies of
Exactly.
X-Men 1 and
Yeah,
Spider-Man 1,
yeah, yeah.
and I just yeah, I wonder this time around, like, I don't think there was quite I mean, obviously, there was a
There
big
were a few that were
fervor.
big. Yeah, but most of them, like the production runs were much smaller this time.
Yeah, but, like, also,
So
like, this was people clamoring for the old stuff. Um,
Yeah, the Silver Age
most
and
of the new
Bronze
stuff.
Age and
Yeah.
yeah, we're hot. Yeah.
And
So
I wouldn't, even if I, like, got out of the hobby, which I'm not, but, like, if I was somebody who's like, "I'm gonna buy all these vintage books because it's they're gonna pay off,
mhm,
the MCU is gonna pay them off or whatever."
mhm.
Even now, knowing that, things have gone down, there isn't the same kinda hype and everything, like, long term, I think there's always an uptick
Yeah, yeah.
over time.
So
Somebody was telling me that really all that's happened was, like, if the you look at a long line of the comic market, it goes up,
mhm,
and then when it hit the 2021 or 2020 boom, it goes
mhm.
bang, and then comes back right to where
Back to that
should
line
be,
that it
and
always
it's
had been
still
on.
gonna
Yeah.
just keep going like that, right?
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like this weird blip that's like, what's going on? It's
Yeah.
like, it'll get back to the only problem is getting back to that crazy peak is gonna take a few years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if you don't see those prices for, like, another decade. Uh,
Yeah, probably something like that.
or
Some
it might take, like, a lull, like, maybe Marvel goes into a lull, and then maybe they don't make many movies, or you know what I mean?
mhm,
But then maybe they'll do something that, like, brings back the excitement and the passion again, and then it
mhm.
slowly builds into something like Endgame, and then, like, maybe then
Yeah.
maybe
Like I
then the
think
market goes
Endgame was
bangers again.
I think Endgame actually kind of messed up the whole MCU in some ways.
In some
Be-
ways, yeah.
Because
I
like,
mean, it was a
it set the bar really, really high and
100%.
then also messed up the continuity of the whole thing. Like how do you explain 5 years? Like it's like it's like
It was, like, kind of it it was a number of things, but definitely, I mean, I don't wanna crap on Endgame, it was awesome,
I
and
love the
it
Endgame
was
by the
such
way.
an awesome culmination to a 10-year journey,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but the problem is it was done in a way that they didn't really set it up for future success, they just ended it,
Yeah, it
and
really was Endgame. That's it.
yeah,
It's
and they didn't realize, like, 1, the power of, like, the characters they killed off, or
mhm. And
got
they
rid
killed
of.
off so many major ones too. Like
So ma like, they're key
they can't
characters, that
like
the ones that tie everything together, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then what also then really killed them was COVID, and,
Mhm.
just a bad strategy of, like, producing things.
I
They
mean, I
kinda
think
got
there is a market there if they overly produce good things.
through,
I just
but
think they haven't been on that good side too much.
I
Like,
I I don't disagree, like, I'm one who would I give me everything you can make, I wanna watch it all,
yeah,
but yeah, do please make it good.
yeah, because
I
I think our society nowadays is much more into content consumption than ever. Like, I mean, like you can actually like I think because we were in this sort of binge watch mentality where we watch like just a sheer volume of content. But
Mhm.
if it's not of the good quality, then nobody's interested. Because like I think of anime, like One Piece. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it has like a
I haven't
thousand
watched it, but I
episodes.
know what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's like
power.
1,000 episodes. Nobody complains that there's that many episodes. The fans will watch that.
Yeah,
So
the
so
problem
I
is
think
the problem is the the amount of money it makes to make an
well
anime,
they got to work that out.
a
That's a big
movie,
problem.
they need way more of an audience, and they have a passionate audience that will always
Hmm.
be there, but
Hmm.
they really, really rely on the non-passionate people that just think it's kinda cool and they wanna see it to
Hmm.
go, and
Yeah.
the problem is they've lost total interest because none of the characters they care about are left.
Hmm.
They haven't had a cohesive story. It hasn't felt like it's truly building to anything. It's sort of had a little bit,
It's
but
kind of
but it's
Yeah.
and then it's been bad quality. Like there's been not
Hmm.
good films and shows,
Hmm.
and on top of it, with the addition of Disney Plus shows, if I'm not like super passionate, I do go to see the movies because I like them, but I'm
There's
not
just too much to
following.
follow.
There's too much
Oof.
to follow, right?
Mm.
And so it's hard. So now I'm some guy who goes to see the movies, but I haven't seen the last 3 shows on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So who are these
I'm
characters?
not going to get this movie,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you don't go to see a movie, and then you haven't seen the movie or the shows, and it just
Yeah, I think there has to be almost like a bit of humility, like where when they start whatever movie it is, they almost have to kind of like do a quick reintroduction of the characters. Just
mm,
you can't assume the audience will know who they are.
yeah.
But the other thing is like I think of the Marvels as being a good example of this. Why would anyone want to go see that? Like because they're not characters that anyone particularly knows. Like the general audience, like comic collectors obviously know those characters, but like they're like even like Captain Marvel being the biggest of the three characters, and she's not even a major character.
Eh,
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue she sort of is a major character in well, I don't
She
know.
had that one movie.
And she played a role a little bit in Endgame and stuff, but um, she wasn't a well-liked character.
That's
Like,
the
people
problem.
didn't
That's another
like
issue.
so you're banking on this character that's established but not
Nobody likes
well-liked,
it. Yeah.
and then you're surrounding her with a few characters that probably most people haven't seen, that don't have
Hmm.
any kind of, like, hype to go see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
then
doomed to fail.
and then,
You make a
even
bad start.
beyond that, you're also following a year of not good projects,
Yeah.
right? Other than Guardians, because Guardians had a built-in following already, and people
Yeah.
loved the Guardians.
I
That
was sort of
wasn't
iffy on Guardians, by the way. I sort of, parts of it I really, really liked, parts of it didn't like. So, yeah.
I liked it, but it like I said, I'm just saying, like, that was successful,
Hmm.
but that wasn't enough to, like, bring people to see this new movie. Like, the
Yeah. Yeah.
damage is already kinda done, and,
Hmm.
like, the only way they're gonna crawl back is by start putting out stuff that's good, that
Hmm.
and even stuff that's good might still fail, but at least it'll get the word
Yeah.
out
Get
that it
some of the
was
fans
good,
back. And,
and then they gotta put in characters that matter to
hmm.
people. So, like, I think Deadpool's gonna kill. Like,
Oh, yeah. Me too.
it's
I think that's going to
Wolverine,
be
it's
huge.
Deadpool, people are gonna go see that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going
Um,
to be huge.
so that's a good start.
And the
Um,
X-Men, not X-Men, but the Spider-Man movies from Sony. I have, the Spider-Man
yeah,
like,
but I think most people know those aren't MCU, so I don't know if that helps them or not.
I
Maybe, I don't
always I
know.
always felt that was weird that you have these two separate universes that are both Marvel.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like MCU
unfortunate.
and then
It's
Sonyverse.
honestly on and but then Spider-Man is in the MCU, so
Yeah,
it's, like,
it's like
even
so
more
confusing.
weird. It's unfortunate that
Hmm.
Marvel can't get those rights back from Sony.
Yeah,
But, at
but it
least they've
seems
had some cooperation, that they've been able to get Spider-Man into the MCU,
into the MCU. Yeah,
but there's tons of rumors around that they're working on a deal for Sony to bring in, like, they are gonna connect to the MCU, and, like, Tom Hardy's Venom's gonna end up
yeah.
coming
They were
back,
sort of
and
hinting at it, right? They were
yeah,
kind of saying like there was that scene at the very end of Venom 2
and
where
that's
it kind
another
of hints at it.
problem. That's another problem with what's been going on with the MCU is they've done these, like, e
End credits.
end credit scenes, and even stuff in the movie that a are, like, pretty big developments in the
Hmm.
MCU, and then they don't address them. Like,
Yeah,
they don't lead into another movie, they're not addressed in the
you
next
think it's going
film.
to go somewhere, but nope.
Like, there's a Celestial poking his head and hand out of the the Indian Ocean or the Arctic Ocean or whatever, and
Mhm.
that has not literally been mentioned.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was a celestial in the sky over the world that was never,
Yeah,
you
you'd
know,
think that somebody would have noticed that, maybe.
like there's it's just been lots of different stuff like that that just doesn't
Yeah,
get
that's. I think
asked.
that you sort of mentioned it earlier when you said there's a lack of cohesion. Like
Yeah,
it feels like the stories, they don't really know where they're going, and it doesn't
and
really.
part of that was because of COVID. Because when COVID launched, they had all these projects already kind of produced, and
Mhm,
they had to change things, change the order of release, and they had to make them like self-contained so that
mhm.
if they wanted to release this Disney Plus show after this thing, it doesn't screw up the
Yeah, yeah.
continuity, but it made it super less interesting and like
Yeah.
less building towards something, right? And the first 10 years of Marvel, everything just led into
You
the
could
next
see
thing.
that it was sort of
Built,
they're piecing together a big
yeah.
puzzle. Yeah.
First phase was all about building the Avengers. So you had the solo stories, but all the end credit scenes were like Nick Fury's like I'm building a team, and then Iron Man shows up with General Ross at the bar after the Hulk saying we've got the Avengers initiative, and
Yeah, yeah.
it just builds, and then you have the Avengers, and then it
Mhm.
would continue on from
Then
there.
you
And
yeah, then you have the next thing where they work as a team to go to that next level. It's like,
there's
yeah.
no culmination either to get to, so there's no like Avengers film that like gets you to the next phase,
Mhm.
right? So
I mean,
they
the only thing that they have now would be Kang, and Kang is so far been a bit
well,
underwhelming.
yeah, and that's a whole other thing that's going on too. Like they've been trying to build this character, but the
Mhm,
character doesn't have any kind of like build up. They put him
mhm.
in Ant-Man. Ant-Man tanks. He dies in supposedly dies in Ant-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But it's only one of the
you're not
versions.
scared of this guy. Like Ant-Man beat
Yeah.
him.
And he
And
beat
then
him with ants.
yeah,
It's
like
like,
not no Hank Pym, the former Ant-Man beat him with ants. Like
yeah, it's like so
yeah,
lame. Yeah.
it's just
I think one of the big problems actually is the multiverse, in a way. Like that when you know that there's a million other versions of that character, do you
it,
really care if one of them dies?
it's
You know what I
stakes.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
When Iron Man died, big deal. Oh my goodness. It's like, you could, I remember the feeling in the theater was just like, it's almost like everyone's heart got ripped out
Mhm.
when that scene. Um, but if you know that there's a million other Iron Mans that they could just grab from another universe and pop him as the next Iron Man,
Yeah.
that feeling would be lost. That sort of weight of the situation would be lost.
Yeah,
Um,
it's I I don't want to say it like I'm excited to see where they take it, but
mhm,
it's definitely something that maybe people aren't loving.
mhm.
Um I do think that like they could they could do something really cool with it, but so far the track record
Not so good.
has not been good. So um and when I say it's not been good, like I still even find a way to enjoy some of these things
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
aren't
yeah. I
good.
try to enjoy them. I
But
always try to go in with an open mind.
I definitely wish that it was better,
Hmm.
better storyline, better quality. And I'm
Mm.
hoping that it gets there. Like I think there's like super interesting things with like bringing the old X-Men into the universe with the multiverse and stuff like that's really cool to me.
Yeah, it could be fun.
And they're probably banking on the fact that people will have that like nostalgia,
Nostalgia.
kind of like the
Mm.
Spider-Man No Way Home movie with
Yeah,
the three
that
Spider-Man.
was really well done. I
Super
really
well.
enjoyed that.
Um, bringing Wolverine back and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
look forward to that. I just think it's going to be just super interesting to see what they do beyond once they get out of this Secret Wars storyline.
Hmm.
Feels like it's going to still take forever to get to the end of that, which scares me because like how
It's
many
a
years can
convoluted.
they,
It's a big story to tell.
yeah, yeah, and how
Um,
many years can they afford to not have people interested in stuff? But um
mhm.
Yeah, I like, you hear rumors that they're gonna soft reboot after it, that they'll
Hmm.
bring Iron
Sometimes
Man,
that's what you
Captain
need to do.
America.
Actually, I would do a hard reboot. Just get new cast everybody
I would
again,
too.
and
But but
and
then but
do
then this
origin
is the
stories
issue.
again. And
So this is the issue. They do that. They just started Fantastic Four. They're gonna reboot Fantastic Four.
well, what I would do is use Fantastic Four as, like if you think about it, Fantastic Four in terms of the comics was the reboot of Marvel. It sort of brought Marvel back on the map.
Yeah, but
Um,
what I'm saying is they're gonna bring Fantastic Four in before that for Secret Wars.
I
So
know. My point is, yeah, they could have.
you're saying they should hold them back.
Well, I would just say make Fantastic Four the launching pad for new,
So
like,
just abandon everything and just start a hard
yeah.
start.
At this point, it's like, uh, there's just
Not
so
a bad
much.
idea. Honestly,
There's just so
I
much,
honestly
like,
wouldn't mind. I would, and
yeah,
just start fresh with everybody on the table,
yeah.
new X-Men team, and you just start a whole
Reintroduce
MCU.
everything and sort of,
Yeah. I
yeah.
I I'm I'm in the same sort of mind. Like, I do
It,
wanna see Secret Wars and stuff, but I think they would be more successful if they just said, "All right," basically what DC's doing.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, say, hey, we realize we haven't been going the right direction. We got this new guy that's coming in. We're gonna redo the whole thing. We're
yeah.
just gonna go a different
Starting
direction.
right now, all our productions
Yeah.
are
And
moving
even though
to
I'm
this
sad actually,
new
because I,
thing.
I was actually intrigued by the potential for the JSA, and I was intrigued by, where they could go with the Justice League as well. Like that's the other group. But it was like they're having problems, right?
But they're
And
doing it weird too because they're gonna keep some things.
I know that's
It
they're
it
doing it
doesn't make
half-hearted.
sense.
Yeah.
Like Amanda Waller and the stuff from
From
Suicide
Suicide Squad.
Squad, Sting, and like
So
that
but
doesn't make
that's James
sense.
Gunn, because that's
I
James
know.
Gunn's project, right?
I
So that's
know,
why he brings her
but
in.
it was in the old
I know
DC
that's,
universe.
yeah,
It doesn't make sense.
it totally
But
doesn't
that's
make
what I'm
sense.
saying, like, that's what the Marvel's gonna do. They're gonna do some sort of weird thing with Secret
But
Wars that's gonna root everything, but, like, the Fantastic Four will somehow, like, survive it and be in this new thing, and then maybe
mhm,
Shang-Chi will still survive it. Like, anybody that they wanna keep around, they'll
mhm.
survive it into this, like, new reality, and then they'll relaunch all these other characters. It's gonna be
Yeah,
weird, but
it could be
maybe.
a total mess, but oh well.
We'll see.
We should probably wrap up. It's been over an hour actually.
Okay.
I uh for people that are watching, I probably should have said this earlier because you got to promote your channel. If you haven't already, go to the links in the description, to both Ryan's YouTube and to his Instagram channels. I will link both in the thing. Um, Quickly, this is right before Christmas, so we should wish everybody a Merry Christmas, right?
Absolutely.
And what are you doing anything special during the holidays or?
So, just this last Friday, I had a big holiday live special,
Mhm.
Christmas with Cousin Colossus, a live holiday
Okay.
special.
Oh yes, I saw
And
I
it was
saw your
great.
promos for that. They were
We
awesome,
had
by the way.
we had an absolutely great time. So if anybody hasn't watched that, check the replay on that.
I haven't watched it
It
yet,
was
so I'll
really,
go and
really
watch that.
great. And then I'm gonna have a few videos coming out before Christmas. I have some CGC submissions to unbox, which are always everybody's favorite
Yeah,
videos.
people love those.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have two of them,
Oh wow.
and then yeah, just some more content, and then towards New Year's, I'll have my wrap up of 2024, and
Hmm.
in the new year, I'll have my new goals for 2024 video. Stuff's coming
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
but nothing super serious planned for the rest of the year. Just more content, and then we'll get into a new year.
Cool, cool. So thanks again for coming on the channel, and
For having me.
yeah, happy Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I was gonna
Merry
say,
Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family and everybody watching.
okay. Bye, everyone.